I'm going to talk about history now, mainly the linguistics of it. That's what I mainly pay attention to. Uh, a lot of overwhelming stuff on the board. You don't need to pay attention to all of it at once. Just let's start off. Here is a hieroglyph of a door that got simplified to here. I don't remember what it was. Maybe it's demonic. Maybe it's hieratic. But it was called the Dalet, and over time became the Delta for the D sound. It had the line under it, but it got simplified to not having an extra line. It's just one whole shape. But shapes, it kind of evolved to this because of this line poking out. It had these things going down. People do that sometimes, and it also likely evolved from the fact that in printing press, uh, T's were like this. Even though nowadays we don't add those extra things, except for the fact we still do this for eyes. That's not right. Um, and I don't know. Now that I look at it, that just looks like an S. But it evolved to the final sigma and the modern S because most languages evolving from a Greek S usually take the end sigma instead of the normal one. Um, Russian is a language that its alphabet, well, for a long time in its history, had tried to evolve from the Greek alphabet, but at the same time, it was its own language entirely. And the thing is that they also modified it quite a bit. Plus, they were also pretty far from Greece, but close to everywhere else in Europe that used the Latin alphabet. So, because of that, they had to use lookalikes from the Latin alphabet. So, right here, you probably can't see these shapes. So, let me just- alpha, can't have that. The Rho, can't have that. What is that? Oh, at some point, acrylic had an omega, but also the omicron. However, uh, I don't know. They could have probably used the W for that. However, W is not a very common thing, so maybe that's why they don't have that. And plus, Omicron made the same sound, so yeah. If it, and a thing is that I'm pretty sure that like through the different languages, they had it so that whatever ones looked the exact same across different alphabets were just the same uh exact pieces on the printing press. It was cloud. Yeah, not exactly what English looks like. The Yoda, can't have that. Sigma, can't can't have that. Epsilon, no, and the Zeta. Uh, we'll give you the number three, I guess. That's what they thought apparently. And it's also said that the letter D came from a fish symbol. There's triangles in it, so they made a triangle from. And also, letter Thorn, a Norse letter in rune that got simplified to look Roman. It was in a lot of languages, in like a big amount of places. However, the majority of languages didn't have it or know how to make that sound. So, it just got completely scrapped from everywhere. So, the printing press did not have it, which is a pretty sad thing. Because that's a good letter, as well as the Ev. That's also a good thing, which I've now discovered is not. It's v. So That's something. I have more to say, but I need to erase this first. Let's see, what do we talk about? Yeah, really for when I say for a long time tried to base itself off of the Greek alphabet, I mean the modern Cyrillic alphabet is not the first edition of it. They had they there was the Glagolitic alphabet, which that's not just a modern rendition of what it's called. I'm pretty sure it was actually called that because the original language it was for, the first Slavic language, is Old Church Slavonic, which was around the time when the Slav people were starting to be Christianized, because that was just very common. I just need to make sure I haven't talked about a thing about we'll talk about soon. But before we get to that part, um, the but in the Glagolitic alphabet, they tried to make a stylized version of the cursive Greek alphabet, but the whole alphabet and even the language was banned because they were using it to rewrite and translate Bibles for the Slavic people, which was forbidden, and it was seen as I don't remember the word, but it's kind of like treason because uh, it was seen that the only holy languages were Hebrew, the language of Israel, Greek, and Latin. Those were the only things you could translate it into. Not even like the language of the country they'd read the Bible in, for some reason. And I've not talked about this next thing. So, ooh, um, second, yeah, that's fine. So the I'd say Google did help in creating a stylized version of different alphabets. He's like, if you're using a pencil, maybe people use pencils in China because it's very common. I, they literally invented pencils, didn't they? So yeah, of course they use them. Oh, ooh, look at that! You can't even see that. What is wrong with this thing? We're writing in blue now. Sorry. If I draw a line, then most of the time you likely won't be able to tell which side I had. You can't even see it. Okay. Well, I think I have some spares in here. But as I was trying to say, you likely wouldn't be able to tell where I started the line from. And in Chinese, stroke order is a very important thing. You have to get it right. And I can't tell if it's like for respect of your own language, or if they do it because they literally would not know what the word is. Anyways, but the thing is that a pencil you can't really very easily tell where it started from. But uh, Unicode on computers you can't tell either. It's just a line. You don't know where it started from. The person that was making it into and then putting it in Unicode. So I'd say that Google does help with this up, and even more than just that, because alphabets could change drastically upon like just small places, country languages, countries, cities, neighborhoods. I don't know, stuff like that. but they would technically still sometimes be considered the same alphabet. So they're um so they're based off of the basic form of the Gothic font, which is pretty much what is now pretty much the calligraphy font in modern day. So they based the printing press originally off of that, the way a lot of scribes wrote. And so let's say, blue. Oh, that's not even. You can't even tell. Say hypothetically, this was the because that's just the way they wrote the A back then. That's a bit better. Here is A in Gothic, the way the printing press looked. That got simplified to this thing, like that. Some people still write like that. It's wrong. And people wrote it like that with a quill. There'd still be some depth to it, because that's how a quill works. Google gets rid of that depth and makes it a bit simpler. Let's say, like, how does it go again? I'm trying to remember what T looked like. I think it might have been like in a circle or something. I'm not sure. But then afterwards on that, there was some people would write it like this, or it could be like that. It gets simplified by Google again, and you write it like that. You don't put a curve, and even things like because afterwards for so long we do. No one does that. No one adds that because Google didn't. They still have a stem though, but they don't have it going back down. Google simplified some things, and even other things like graffiti. Yeah, I got simplified to how this thing's still sticking out, that circle, and they connect that part, or it got turned. They didn't care about the thing sticking out, and they did this, or maybe this got simplified to look like that would, and then they went through there, or um, like a lot of people, they have a stroke, not literally, but that circle right there, yeah, goes back up, makes a curve, doesn't finish it, line sticks out, for some reason goes back, it's allergy, or became angular, and then it also came from this a little bit. Yeah. Um, this wasn't very common. This was common though. Google chose the simpler one, which kind of looks like a lot of other letters in English, which those letters did not always start out looking similar. Like, write it fancy with the stem sticking out a bit. That they did not always look that similar. Evolution of Q. That's not even. But back when they didn't have uppercase and lowercase, it did not look like how it does now. And P used to be like that. My arm hurts. B has always been that two circle thing. How did we get to it now? In lowercase? No clue. But D. Don't know how it got to where it is now. But I don't know how it happened like that with the Greeks either. with delta, but we probably got it somewhere like that. But we chose to make a lot of languages stylistic in evolution, and we made something look similar so that it would look nicer and easier to remember. Google is um so it's blamed for that because that's what calligraphy the stem does not go out, but it does D and on P. And I don't even remember Q, but it's probably backwards. I don't know. It's not always meant like that. Probably happened by chance, or maybe they tried to. I don't know why B was different. But I'd say another very weird thing. If someone looked at the Phoenician alphabet and they tried to transliterate it, they'd probably get it very wrong. Because let's think. This, you think that's an A? I'll give you that. It's just a vowel, not any specific one, but oh well. And this, you think that's O? I'll also give you that. It's another non-specific vowel. But now let's go on to W. No, that's sh. R. No, that's tss. How about this? You don't know? Wrong. Tss. Is there one that does look similar? No, I don't think this was a thing yet. Let's a symbol that's been around for a while. I think it's I. It's Z. So weird is the Greeks based their alphabet off of the Phoenician alphabet. However, when getting the C, which is pretty much sharp S, but they say it starts with a P in the actual name. If you transliterate its name, that's not Phoenician. There's no reason for them to do that. There's no reason for them to modify the Phoenician alphabet, add things, remove things. No reason to do that if in history their language isn't based off of anything. They literally just made it up because they didn't have another one to speak after they first stole a syllabary from the, I think it was Macedonians? I don't remember. No, that's something else entirely. That is Canite in, I think it's like a form of Z or S, maybe G, I don't remember. And if you took the, oh yeah, and also in Phoenician, what's that? That's not a P. This is P and has been for a while. That's an R, and it's been like that in quite a lot of things. Greek, Russian, as I said, they're from the same place. Let's look at um. This is very confusing. You think that's D? That's R. In Old Italic script, the original alphabet of Latin, when the Italics used it, but the Romans simplified it, or no, stylized it, based it a bit off of the Greek style. And that, that was R. This is D. That's a very strange thing. Yeah, languages for a long time didn't have the letter Y because they just thought, why have that when, oh, RY at the end of a word makes the sound of a vowel. It could be any vowel, actually. And a very weird coincidence. This is a non-specific vowel in Hebrew. Looks like a Y. Oh, it's very coincidental. And yes, it is purely coincidence, but whenever it's not vowel sound, you can literally just put the letter I before a vowel, and it'll make the same sound as if there were a Y there, so there's no use for the letter Y. And that's what a lot of languages thought. Oh, stigma, for a long time, I thought this was an old letter in Greek. It's actually a ligature that's a mix between an S and a T. It's called the stigma. No reason to have a name for it, though. It's just a a ligature. A mix of two letters. A lick? I mean a mix, if I didn't say that. Anyways. So I don't understand is Q, like nowadays, it used to make its own sound. It was like the KH sound. But nowadays it's just a K. And even for the Greeks, it was always just a K sound. They just used it before a vowel. But then they realized that's just useless. That's just a K, but more confusing. So they got rid of that. And they had the they had an H sound. That's a terrible H. I don't know where maybe we based it off of that. I'm not very sure where we got ours from. I'm not sure where they got theirs from. Because Phoenician had two H sounds, and Greek used both of them to make vowels. Two H's. This one evolved to be the epsilon, e. This one evolved to be the eta, e. Strange, they were both E sounds. So they didn't have an H when they wanted one, so they had that. And then they thought, eh, oh well, doesn't matter. How do they make it now? They don't. So what was the point? Did they ever? I don't know. I don't speak ancient Greek. Well, people say that we know not a single thing about the ancient Greek alphabet. But if you showed writing in ancient Greek to a native Greek speaker, they would not know it's ancient Greek. They just think it's Greek. So I don't know where that myth comes from. That's why we literally teach all forms of Old Greek things. Um, yeah, the Sampi. I mainly write it as this, but there's many ways to write it. Uppercase, is how I write it. I think I think this is lowercase, the real lowercase version. But sometimes people do this. They write it in all sorts of ways. That doesn't make sense. Anyways, Seppi is an S. That's all it is. Just S. Anyways, the Greeks, when taking the Phoenician alphabet for the letter S, is also very confusing. So what they did, this is the actual sound S. Like, this is S in Phoenician. And the Greeks used it for the X. X. Why? Now they don't have a letter to use for an actual S sound. So what they do, they take the shin, the sh, flip it around a bit, because they did that a lot with some of the letters. And then it's just instead of sh anymore. They never use that sound. I don't see the point. So, which is very strange. Because, like, why not just, why not just, I don't see the point of that. And also, I've got some other things about it. I don't, but why not just use, like, those two things? Why not use one more thing for the other thing for S to be the psi? I mean, the C. Um, Pi, that's P. The I, the Yoda always like the I sound always made the E sound. It was always E. It was never I or I. In phonetics, I still use this when making the I sound because uh, I read the name wrong so many times. But anyways, I always said iota. Anyways, the the C could have literally just been that thing that looked like an R in Phoenician, but no, they chose to get something from Canaanites. They were very confusing with these things. Um, Something very weird is that the Greeks and the Romans, the Greeks did not like writing at all. They thought it was, they thought speaking was more superior. So we have a lot of things that are we've lost a lot of things from the Greek philosophers and mathematicians, stuff like that. We've lost them because a lot of them chose not to write anything. The only writing we have are people copying down what they said. However, they chose to make writing better. They made it look very mathematical, and they also because you never pause in speaking. You're never supposed to is what it is unless you're catching your breath. And in writing, they wrote it left to right, then right to left, so you never stop moving your eyes, just like how you never stop speaking, because it's just nonverbal speaking. The Romans also did that for a while. They thought that's too difficult, and the Greeks thought that as well. Even though I really like that idea, to be honest, it's more efficient. Efficient, and it's very. People say it's very strange and coincidental how all of the early civilizations somehow started around the same time. That's just because that's when we were starting to develop something in our minds. Like we evolved to be able to actually like comprehend communication and stuff like that. So we started doing it as fast as we could because we felt, oh, we're able to communicate. We might as well do that. And I got a call, so I'm gonna stop recording this now.